Your emotion had an echo in so much space. When you out there without care, I was out of tune. But it wasn't because I didn't know, no. I just knew too much. Does that make me crazy? Does that make me crazy? Does that make me crazy? Possibly. I hope that you're having the time of your life. Think twice. That's my only advice. Oh, who do you think you are? Oh, bless your soul.
Hello, everybody. We are on the last leg of the Easter weekend, long 4-day holiday. Hope you guys have had a fantastic weekend. Many of you needed that shutdown. Many of you needed that reset button. Many of you needed to pull away and get away from the hustle and bustle of your everyday life and spend some time away from the chaos that is your world. But guess what? Tomorrow you're back again. That's how it is. If it's Chava. Guys, we need to talk about this. We do. I know one of the comments, somebody was saying, Mr. Muero, I need to go home. Guys, I'm an adult. I go home when I want to go home. Well, the truth is I'm leaving. As soon as I'm done with this broadcast, I'm out of here. I'm leaving. I'm coming to you live from my office here at Simerson Building. It's a lovely Monday evening. A few shout outs to you. I noticed my dear friend Joseph Chishimba watching us from Solihull, England. Hello, Joseph. Thank you so much. Somebody says, well, you better say something good about him. Guys, it's not about saying anything good about anybody. It's about telling the truth. So can we stick with telling the truth? Let's be accurate in our reporting. Let's not be footloose and fancy free. Okay, let's not chase clouds in the sky. Let's not ride unicorns and flying pink elephants. Let's not do that. Let's just stick with the facts. Okay, here it is. Let me break it down for you. I'll fix all this in post. I just want to throw this up there. Guys, let's talk about political propaganda. Now, everybody does it. Unfortunately, everybody does it. Whether it's the NPF, the Notorious Patriotic Front, they have had their share. They have meted out their share of political propaganda over the years. They are not perfect. In the same way, in the same vein, by the same token, these guys, the UPND, there's some elements within the UPND that are pushing or that push an inaccurate picture of what's really happening on the ground. Let me begin by saying to you categorically, let me not mince any words. Let me not pull any punches. Let me just lay it on the line for you. Here it is. Fred Membe did not shoot Emmanuel Mposha. Emmanuel Mposha is the young man from Serenge. You know the story, but let me bring you up to speed. The Socialist Party clashed with an L, came into a conflict with the UPND. The Kadas from Socialist Party and the Kadas from the UPND party, they met, and in the fracas, in the confusion, in the fray, in that discombobulated chaos, people were hurt. According to Fred Membe, he felt unsafe, removed his gun, shot in the air twice in an effort to disperse the crowd. When that happened, somebody called the police in Serenge. Buana, someone has fired a gun and one of our young boys has been shot. Fred Membe was arrested. He was charged with unlawfully discharging a firearm. The police in Serenge ascertained, they deduced, they concluded that this young man was hurt, but he was not shot. And so in the political fray, a couple of guys within the UPND in Serenge there said, you know what, let's milk this for all it's worth. Let's take one of these guys that's been injured, and then let's put on the internet that he's been shot. Let's take him to UTH, put him on a bed, and tell the world that he's been shot. That is political propaganda. That is done in an effort to gain public sympathy and to disdain another political opponent. That's not right, because you cannot be full on a belly full of lies. You cannot lie about someone and say you're seeking justice. Just tell the truth. The truth, ladies and gentlemen, in this case is Fred didn't shoot anybody. He may have shot in the air, and that act of shooting in the air has its own penalties. The law has something that it prescribes for something like that. If you unlawfully discharge your gun, there are laws that protect the public. And so Fred has to be charged accordingly. But it is wrong, it is disingenuous, it is unfair to claim that he shot someone when he clearly has not. Let's just be truthful. So here it is. When this story came out, I told you I would go to UTH myself and ask, and I did. And I got there and I found James Talasha. He's the Central Province Youth Chairman for UPND. Him and I, we spoke. We had a very cordial conversation. And I asked him pointedly, I said, was the guy shot? And he says, well, why don't you come in and see for yourself? So I walked in, I saw the young man on the bed. I began to ask him, tell me what happened. The young man simply didn't want to talk. He said, well, I don't know what happened. So I looked at his head, I looked at his arms, I looked at his hands. He did have a cut, an incision, okay? An incision on his right hand, on the top of his right hand. There was a cut which had been stitched up, okay? The doctors fixed that. It had some strings on it, to hold it and bind it together. Now, I know somebody was saying, but Mr. Mwe, what if that was the wound? An incision is different from a bullet. An incision, sorry. An incision is different from a bullet wound. And in any case, if in fact that was a bullet wound, do you think Fred Membe would be walking around free? Huh? Is that what you think? In your misguided wisdom, if truly that incision, that cut on Emmanuel's hand, which had been stitched up, if that was a bullet wound, which it was not, you honestly think Fred Membe would be walking around free? No. The issue here was they were fighting. these kadas. And this is the reason I always tell these political parties, don't get these young men that have nothing to do. Don't put them in party regalia and then send them to the front lines to do your bidding. Don't do that. This, ladies and gentlemen, what happened was, this was a case of on the ground kada conflict. On the ground kada conflict. That is to say, when you have two political parties that have two different groups of people with two different ideologies, they come into one space and they begin to fight. On the ground kada conflict. That's what this was. And I must hasten to say, the Electoral Commission of Zambia, the Electoral Commission has to define the rules of engagement. In other words, here, I'll throw it up here for you so that we're on the same page. In other words, the Electoral Commission should say, if your party members are violent in any way, you are out of the race. When Electoral Commission begins to make such hard, clearly defined rules of engagement, we will see less of this fracas. We will see less of this on the ground kada conflict. We will see less of this conflagration, violence that has no place in our country. We will see less of it. But oh, as long as you keep tiptoeing through the tulips, as long as you keep dancing around the issue, as long as you don't face the animal, the Leviathan within, if you don't do that, you're going to have your head up in the clouds and you won't be dealing with the issue. All you'll be dealing with are the symptoms, not the problems. Don't deal with the symptoms. Deal with the cause of the problem. And let me hasten to add that when you begin to create political propaganda for the sake of political mileage, then you're not a patriot. Bottom line, you are not a patriot. You don't love this nation. If that's your approach, you don't love this country. All you are concerned about is gaining political mileage. Now, let me very quickly say here, there's an online Facebook page by the name of CIC Press. Now, I know the story behind that Facebook page. The guy that owns that page is a very strong, staunch UPND supporter, which there's nothing wrong with that. I support the UPND. There's nothing wrong with that. This guy that owns CIC Press, during the PF, he was harangued. The PF made his life hell. I mean, literal hell. So the hate that he has for the NPF, I understand that hate. But his hate has been camouflaged in an effort to discredit the NPF by any means necessary, even if it means lying. Now, that's dangerous. It's one thing to state a fact. If something happened, say it happened. But do not create stories, do not create falsehoods because you hate someone and you feel fully justified in creating those stories because you want to see your enemy destroyed. That's not right. And that's not journalism. CIC Press, the guy that owns it, he claims to be a journalist, but his journalism is clouded. You know the word clouded? Not crowded, clouded, meaning he cannot see clearly because of the bad experience he went through during the PF. And I must tell you, they made his life hell. They made his life a living hell. And so when UPND won, the guy that owns CIC Press is determined to destroy the NPF by any means necessary. And there's nothing wrong with that. But as long as your effort to destroy is based on truth, not lies, that's not going to stand. That dog won't hunt. That cat will not meow. And that pig will not squeal. Let's fight political propaganda. If we don't do that, all it takes is one spark, and this whole nation will be set on fire. Let's stand for truth. Let's report accurately. CIC is not a credible source of news because they include lies. You can't claim to be satisfied on a belly full of lies. You can't do that. No, sir. No, sir. All right. Somebody says, but what's your interest in this matter? I'm a Zambian. What do you mean, what's my interest? I'm a Zambian. That's my interest. Goodness. That's like asking Michael Jordan, why do you like playing basketball? Because he loves it. I love my country. You guys, unbelievable. All right. Well, hey, guys, thank you so much. Thank you for watching. The news is coming on any moment now, so you need to go watch the news. Thank you very much for taking a few moments out of your very busy schedule to be with me for a few moments. Let's fight false narratives, political propaganda. Let's push against it. God bless you. We'll talk to you tomorrow.